Hey friends, happy Sunday and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I'm Taylor. I'm a stay-at-home wife and mom, and I share these What's for Dinner videos every Sunday to share with you the meals that we had during the week, so it will hopefully motivate you to cook more for your family and give you some new meal ideas. So if you're in need of new meal ideas, I hope you'll subscribe down below. As I said, I share these every Sunday. I also share grocery hauls every Tuesday, and then on Fridays I usually share a vlog or some other type of video. As always, any recipes that I mention will be linked in the description box. Now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Friday night we had chili dogs. Friday is our crock pot meal of the week because we go to karate, so I wanted something quick and easy to come home to. So I started off earlier in the day by making the chili and then just sticking it in the crock pot for a couple hours. So here I am just browning up some ground beef, and just now looking over the recipe, I realized I was also supposed to add 1/3 cup of water with the ground beef, I guess to help make it crumble better. I've got my meat chopper, so everything turned out fine. But I'm going to add the water to the crock pot, but you're supposed to add it here. So either way, it turns out fine in my opinion. I also seasoned up my ground beef with some salt and pepper, which the recipe didn't say to do, but I couldn't help it. I had to season it up with something, at least some salt and pepper. So I just cooked that until it was completely cooked through, using my meat chopper to really finely chop it, because it's going to be chili for chili dogs. So you want it to be really finely chopped. And then once this was done, I drained off the excess grease. Then to my crock pot, I'm adding that 1/3 cup of water, about 5 ounces of tomato sauce, 1/2 cup of ketchup, 1 tablespoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, salt, pepper, a pinch of sugar. I didn't do as much as it called for because I just was not feeling the sugar very much. So I just did a little pinch of sugar, and then some onion powder. And I actually used onion salt. I really love the onion salt from Trader Joe's. It is so good. Then I gave that a good stir, and when my beef was done, I added that to it, gave it all another good stir, and then I cooked this on low for 2 hours. It doesn't take long. You just want it to kind of keep warm and the flavors will combine, and 2 hours was perfect. We came home from karate. I gave it a stir, and then I made some hot dogs in the air fryer. If I'm not cooking hot dogs on the grill, then I'm cooking my hot dogs in the air fryer. It only takes about 10 minutes on 350. They get nice and brown and almost look like they came off the grill, and they're delicious that way. Elijah had a chili dog with just chili and cheese. We had some spiral fries with it, and I had mustard on my chili cheese dog. So did Andy when he come home later. Lily did not want to have a chili cheese dog. We cut up her hot dog, put it in the chili with some cheese, and then she just had the bun on the side. My child is weird. I know. She likes to have her bread on the side most of the time. She does the same thing when we make her a burger. She'll take it apart and eat the bun separately from the inside of the burger. Let me know. Are your kids weird and do weird stuff like that? Saturday night's meal did not come off the meal plan. We were supposed to have naan pizzas, but I pulled the naan out of the freezer. It had thawed, and when I pulled it out of the package, there was mold hiding behind the cardboard that I couldn't see. It was 7 o'clock. Dinner was supposed to take me 15 minutes to make, and I just I about wanted to cry because there was mold on it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. These kids are hungry. I can't order food because it'll take too long to get here. I walked out of the room, took some deep breaths, and then I was like, you know what? We have some tortillas. We're just going to have pizza quesadillas. So that is what I did. I just took some big burrito-sized tortillas, put some pizza sauce on them, then topped it with some mozzarella cheese, some pepperoni, some more mozzarella cheese, folded it up, and then we just had quesadillas. We were all very upset. Lily really wanted her naan pizza, so we will be having those next week. I made sure to buy a new package. That's literally never happened to me before when I buy the marked down naan at Aldi. I've never had a moldy package, and it was just hidden right behind the cardboard. You couldn't see it from the outside. Very disappointing. But the quesadillas were delicious. Everybody loved them, and we ended up having them again this week for lunch because the kids were like, those are really good. Can we have them again? Elijah helped me this night cut up veggies so we could have salads with our quesadillas. So here he was cutting up some cucumbers. He was getting mad at it getting stuck to the knife. But yeah, Lily just had some fresh veggies on the side. She also had some blueberries. I didn't put them on her plate. She just ate them out of the container that I had in the fridge. And then we had some salad. If you've never done pizza quesadillas, you should try it if you like pizza because it's delicious. Sunday night, I did hot honey barbecue chicken sandwiches. This is something that we love and I've made quite a few times. So in the crock pot, I am adding 1.5 cups of barbecue sauce. I use the Kansas City one from Aldi, but you can use whatever you like. And then I did 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, 3 tablespoons of hot honey. I'm using the last of some Mike's hot honey. And then a few splashes of Worcestershire sauce, some paprika, salt, and pepper. And then you just add in your 2 chicken breasts. You could add more. I think the original recipe says like 3 to 4 chicken breasts. I like to do it with 2. You end up like a little bit extra saucy, and that's how I like it. But it's definitely a lot of sauce, so you could use more meat if you want. And then I just cook that on low for like 4 to 6 hours, just until your chicken is done. And then you can go in and shred it up. I like to use my little meat chopper to do that. It shreds up really well that way. And then on a sheet pan, I placed some ciabatta buns. I just like open them and place them down. And then a lot of the time I do open face sandwiches. So I would put meat on both sides and then top it with cheese. But this night we really wanted like closed sandwiches, so I just put the meat on one side and then top that side with cheese, and then stuck this in the oven on 425 for 5 minutes, just until the cheese was melted and the bread got toasty. And then when it came out, I put the tops on the bottoms and we just had those sandwiches. And this night, to go with our sandwiches, we just had some fresh veggies. We had broccoli and cucumbers, and the kids like little sweet peppers, and I had carrots and cucumbers. And then instead of ranch for me, I had some cottage cheese mixed with some ranch seasoning. And let me tell you, it was delicious. I've been loving adding things to cottage cheese, and I recently tried it blended up with the ranch seasoning. I did not try that this night, but then a few days later, like before filming this voiceover, I did try it blended up, and it's really good blended up as well. But it's still, if you just want to be lazy and not blend it up, it's great. It's really good on carrots. It's really good on cucumbers. It's really good on broccoli. Loving cottage cheese lately. Monday night, we kept it simple with a super easy family favorite. It's the smoked sausage, green beans, and potatoes. And I used canned potatoes this night to make it even easier. We had some buttered bread on the side, and that was it. I've shared this multiple times. The recipe will be down in the description box, as well as a link to a video where I made it step by step. Tuesday night, I made a lasagna, like hamburger helper style, 1-pot pasta. And it was delicious. I was just kind of winging it, making it up. I found the like little tiny like lasagna style noodles at Trader Joe's. As soon as I saw them, I was like, yes, I'm making that. I want these noodles. I want lasagna hamburger helper, but not actually hamburger helper from a box, because it's so much better when you make it yourself. So I am starting off with a pound of ground beef, and to that I am adding some onion salt, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, and salt and pepper, and I'm just gonna brown that up and chop it up with my little meat chopper until it's fully cooked. And then this meat that I'm using was some ground chuck from Kroger. It was really greasy, and so I used the paper towel trick to remove most of that excess grease. I left a little bit of it. It adds some flavor. I don't worry about draining all of it, but when it does have a lot like that, I do want to drain most of it off. And then I added in 2 cups of beef broth, 1 jar of marinara sauce, and 8 ounces of mafalda pasta. That's the little tiny lasagna looking noodles. If you can't find them, you can definitely use like any kind of short noodle you want, bow ties, penne, whatever you want to use. Just add that in, then get everything a good stir, and then I brought it to a boil. Once it came to a boil, I reduced the heat down to a medium-low and let this simmer for about 15 minutes or until the pasta was cooked. After 15 minutes, I tested the pasta. It was good, perfectly al dente, and most of that liquid had been absorbed. So then I stirred in about 3/4 of a cup of some blended up cottage cheese. You don't have to blend it, but I wanted that kind of consistency. And then if you don't like cottage cheese, you could just leave it out if you want, or you could add in ricotta cheese if you want to do that instead. So I added that in, and then I also added in probably about 1.5 cups of some shredded Italian blend cheese. And then once that cheese was all melted in, this was ready to eat. We topped it with a little bit more of the cheese, and it was delicious. It was super filling and very like nostalgic. We used to eat Hamburger Helper a lot as a kid, basically every single kind, and this really tasted like a good lasagna. Just, not all of the work of lasagna. It was made in one pot, which made it super easy. Wednesday night, we had another one-pot meal. This was some chicken thighs and rice. I saw something very similar to this on TikTok, but it wasn't like an exact recipe, so I just kind of did my own thing. I'm starting off with about 1.5 pounds of chicken thighs here, and I'm seasoning up with some onion salt, garlic powder, and the Zatarain's blackened seasoning, and I'm doing that on both sides. And then I'm heating up some olive oil in a large skillet, and I'm just going to brown these chicken thighs on either side, just about 3 minutes per side. They get nice and golden brown. They do not have to be all the way cooked through, because they will be going in with the rice and continuing to cook for like another 20 minutes later. We just want to get a nice good sear on them for some flavor and texture. It's better when it's got like a little bit of crispiness on it. So then once I had them seared off, I removed them from the pan, and then to the pan I added about 2 tablespoons of butter and like 5 or 6 cloves of minced garlic, and then I just let that cook for about 30 seconds. And then the garlic gets like really nice and fragrant, and then I added in 2 boxes of chicken flavored rice-a-roni. The video that I had seen on TikTok, she used like the cheesy kind, which Aldi doesn't carry a cheesy kind. It's just like chicken or rice pilaf or beef. And so I just bought the rice one, and the seasoning is already in there with it too. So you add all that at the same time, and then I just like cooked that for like 3 minutes until the rice and like vermicelli that's in there gets like a little bit toasted. It'll start to get golden. And then once that happens, you can go in with your water. I added in 4 cups of water, a little bit of Knorr chicken bouillon just for a little bit more flavor, and then I added back in my chicken thighs right on top of that. Then I covered this with a lid and let this cook over medium heat for about 25 minutes. You go in, pretty much all the liquid is going to be absorbed. Your rice is going to be cooked through, and then I use my meat thermometer just to double check and make sure my chicken cooked through, and it was perfectly done. To go with this, I just made a can of corn, seasoned that with some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and butter, and that was it. Super easy meal, and it was delicious. I'm definitely going to try this with some different flavors of rice-a-roni. When I get to like Walmart or Kroger, I'm going to buy like some different flavors, like maybe the cheesy one, and then there's like a Mexican one. So definitely going to try to use those more in like one-pot meals. It just makes my life a lot easier. And finally, the last meal of the week, we had some lemon pepper salmon, and then these sheet pan roasted potatoes and carrots. So I'm starting off with the potatoes and carrots because they're going to take the longest, and getting them in the oven is what I need to do first. So I'm starting off with 1/3 a cup of melted butter, and then I'm adding in some garlic powder, dried parsley, salt, dried thyme, and black pepper, and just mixing that together really well. And then here on my sheet pan, I have 2 pounds of potatoes that I diced up. These are the little baby ones. And then also about 1 pound of carrots that I chopped up. I wanted everything about the same size so it would cook at the same speed. And then I just drizzled that butter over everything and then gave it a good toss to make sure everything was coated really well. And then I cooked this in the oven on 400 degrees, and it took about 45 minutes to get everything at the consistency that I wanted it. Everything was done at about 30 minutes, but I wanted it a little bit crispier, so I left it in there for 45. And then I'm using that same measuring cup, and I have some semi-melted butter. It's about half of a stick. I didn't want it fully melted because I wanted it to be a little bit thicker so it'd be easier to brush on. And to that, I added some salt and a bunch of lemon pepper seasoning. If your lemon pepper seasoning is salted, don't add salt. The one that I have is the Kinder's one, and it is unsalted, so I wanted to add some salt. And then I also added in a little bit of lemon juice. It was about half of a lemon that I squeezed in there. Then I mixed that together really well. And then I brushed that on my 4 pieces of salmon. And then I topped the salmon each with like 1 slice of the lemon, the other half of the lemon. And then this goes in my air fryer on a foil lined baking sheet in the air fryer on 400 for about 12 minutes. It's really going to depend on the thickness of your salmon. So you just want to check it and make sure it's done. We love to do salmon in the air fryer this way. It is so good. We love it with lemon pepper. It's like one of our favorite ways to have salmon. And the potatoes and carrots turned out really good too. They were buttery and garlicky and herby, and they were just really delicious. I love the combination of the carrots and potatoes together. And I had never done like a sheet pan thing like that. Like you have them together in like a pot roast, but I've never done it on a sheet pan. We all loved it, and I will definitely make it again. But that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. If you made it here all the way to the end, make sure you leave me a smiley face down in the comments. And also let me know if you plan on trying any of these recipes that I shared with you today. I hope you'll have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!